What is good, y'all? Welcome back to the report. Welcome back to a brand new video. The Miami Heat are playing Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals today against the Boston Celtics. We're going to be previewing that game, talking about what the Heat have to do right to win, why things didn't go well in Game 4, and then talking about, where my confidence level is for the rest of the series. Make sure y'all stick around till the end of the video. Drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new. Leave a comment as to what you guys believe is going to happen tonight and for the rest of the series. Yeah, I think we should just get into it. So, Game 4 was tough. I'm not gonna lie. The Heat, at home, dropped a stinker to the Boston Celtics. Man, it was probably our worst game of the entire playoffs. No, actually, no, it was second worst game because the Bucks game 2 was even worse. But this was up there. It was just not a good game, especially in the second half. And it hurts more because we were actually leading that game at one point. We were actually up at halftime, and in the third quarter we were also up by like 8 first for like a period of time, and then they kind of just turned it on and went on a huge run, and they closed out the quarter and they went up into the fourth up by 9, and then we cut it to 5, and then Jason Tatum came back in, and then after he came back in, Spo didn't bring Jimmy in until after I don't know. Spo does this thing. He's amazing. Spo's the best coach in the NBA, but I don't know why Spo does this one thing where out of timeouts he'll bring the same lineup back and then have Jimmy at the scorer's table waiting for another break. Bro, just bring him in. What are you waiting for? I think those 2 possessions where he was on the bench, they scored 5 points, and that brought the lead back from 5 to 10. That was costly. I'm not gonna lie. So, in a closeout game, your best player has to be, on the floor for as much amount of time as possible. And Jimmy Butler, I guess, whether Spo wanted to give him rest or not, those 2 possessions were crucial because, after we cut the lead to 5 in the fourth quarter, Joe Mazzulla brought Jason Tatum back into the game. And Spoelstra was like, you know what, I'm going to buy a little bit more time. And since we're on the run, maybe, we can keep this going with the zone or whatnot. And I'm gonna have Jimmy at the scorer's table for this next possession, and then whenever there's a dead ball, he'll come back in, which will get him more rest. Which I understood his logic, but all that goes out the window when you're in a closeout game and when you're trying to come back, because it's not like we were up. You know what I'm saying? We were still down, and they had just brought their best player back in, and he was shredding our zone after he came back. They went on a 16-0 run or something like that. So, yeah, that was basically the game back right there, man. It was tough. It was a tough one to swallow because, you definitely wanted to close it out at home, sweep them, get momentum going into the finals. But in a way, I do think that this game was needed. This game that was gonna humble this team. I think that was something that we needed, especially before the finals. I'm not trying to count our eggs before they hatch and say, oh, we're gonna be in the finals. But I'm very confident in this team. I don't think Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat are going to lose 4 games in a row to Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics. I think that the Heat will be in the finals, but just even talking about this series, I just think that it was good to get a humbling, and kind of just get a reality check, before Game 5 or Game 6 or whatever, just so that they have to go through some adversity. It's always good to go through some adversity before you attain success, and that's why I thought this loss was good for them. That's why I thought this loss was good for them. So it's not the end of the world. Obviously, we're still up 3-1. My confidence is still sky high. I saw on Twitter, a lot of people are actually panicking about this game. And yesterday, I actually waited to make this video because I wanted to see what the national media's perception was going to be about this loss. You got idiots like Mike Greenberg on ESPN, or Get Up or whatever he's on, talking about the Celtics are gonna come back from 3-0 because the Heat lost this game, and some other guy, I think Amin El-Hassan or someone these talk show hosts or First Take and Undisputed, all these people, they want to suddenly just jump back on the Celtics bandwagon and say, oh, you know what, the series is a series now, and the Celtics are gonna come back and this and that. Stay on that side and don't come back here, once the Heat win the series, because I promise you, the Heat are going to win the series. The Heat will win the series. And if they don't, y'all can come back and you guys can clown me as much as you guys want in the comment section. Celtics fans, anybody else. I promise you guys the Heat will win the series. And it's kind of funny how the national media just needed one game that the Heat lost just to jump off their bandwagon and just be like, you know what, we're back on the Celtics again. Even though the Heat are up 3-1. Like, logically, it's not going to be easy to put away a good team. It's not. And the Celtics are a good team. They are a good team. You got to give them a lot of credit. They are a good team. And, you know, they're the number 2 seed for a reason. They're not, you know, they're not an underdog in this series. So it's not going to be easy to put them away. The closeout game is always the toughest game of any series. But the Heat are very capable of doing so because of the 3 games that they played amazingly before this fourth one. And they have 3 more opportunities. All they need to do is win 1 game, and they have 3 more games to do so. They just lost 1. They're not going to lose 3 in a row. They're not going to lose 4 in a row, is what I'm trying to say. There's no way. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in basketball. He is not being the first coach in NBA history he's not going to be the first coach in NBA history to blow a 3-0 lead. I guarantee you that. So, I think the Heat, I'm very positive that the Heat will win the series, but if I had any panic levels, they would probably come if we had lost game 5 and if we had lost game 6. If there was a game 7, it would be tough. Also, people talking about how we have to win on Boston's home court. Boston has lost, I think, half of their games that they played at home in this playoffs. Like, their home record is not that great. A lot of people want to say, oh, you got to play 2 games in Boston potentially. Yo, we can win in Boston. We just won 2 in Boston before. Like, that place is not scary or anything like that. Their home record is not that good at all, especially in these playoffs. Talking about what we could do better in game 5. There was just a lot of stuff that just didn't go our way in game 4, and that's just one of those games where it's just an off night. It happens. Like, you know, when your 2 best players don't have good games, and I don't really care what the stat sheet says. Jimmy might have had 29 and 9, but we all know that was not his best game. Like, and he didn't really like turn it on until like the 3rd or the 4th, and even when he was like you know, trying to be more aggressive in those 2 quarters, like, he was still missing a lot of shots that were falling for him in these previous games. So if he was making his shots, he could have had a 40 piece, but he just did not have a good game. And then Bam did not have a good game either. So when your 2 best players don't have good games, and then your shooters are not making the threes, then it's kind of just like, where's the offense coming from? I gotta give Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin credit, because they were a big reason why in the first half we were up. Gabe had 17, Caleb had 16. But yeah, I mean, like, what I'm trying to tell you is that there's not going to be too many of these nights where the shooters aren't making shots and then Jimmy and Bam don't play well. Because if all that happens, then yeah, the Heat will probably lose. But I trust, whether the shooters are making shots or not, I don't think Jimmy's going to have a game like that again. I'm pretty sure Bam is not going to have that type of game again where he only had 10 points. And I think our 3-point shooting will be better than 25%. Now, you can say it's on the road and this and that. Again, we shot the lights out on the road in game 1 and 2. So I think that, if anything, the anomaly game was game 4, because we just did not shoot the ball well in that game. But in the first 3 games we did. So shooting is something that's very up and down. You know, you either make shots or miss shots. It's not something that you can really control. You just got to keep staying with it. But what we can control is, you know, Jimmy and Bam. They just got to be more aggressive, especially Jimmy from the jump, man. It's a closeout game. Like, just set the tone. Set the tone easily. And yeah, I mean, like, you know, it was tough. It was a tough loss. It was a tough loss. The Celtics kind of, you know, everything kind of just went well for them. Tatum had 33 and 11. He had an amazing game, and they shot 40% from 3. So when that happens, and when their best player has 33, like, they're probably gonna win. And on top of that, it was the complete opposite for us. Like, we didn't really have a good game from Jimmy and Bam, and our shooters did not shoot well. So yeah, it was kind of just like a tale of two different teams there, and it kind of makes sense why the Celtics were able to run away with it at the end, because of everything I just said. And, you know, with all that being said, like, it was a close game for, you know, 3.5 quarters. So I mean, yeah, you can't really there's not really much else to analyze in this game apart from the fact that offensively, we were just not that great. And then defensively, I think the Celtics just made a lot of shots that they were missing before, which you got to give them credit for. But I don't think the strategy should change. You got to make their role players beat you. And if their three-point shooting is beating you, then so be it. You got to get the ball out of Jason Tatum's hands. And Jason Tatum, he cannot have 33 again with the Celtics shooting 40% from three. One or the other has to be taken away. Either the Celtics three-point shooters have to be smothered, or Jason Tatum has to be smothered. And I think Spo has to throw the kitchen sink at Jason Tatum and just get the ball out of his hands every time, because if the role players beat you, and if you're getting Al Horford to hit 3 threes, or Derek White to hit 3 threes, or Grant Williams to hit 3 threes, then so be it, because those guys aren't the ones that we'll live with those guys making their shots if they have to. Make the others beat you. Get the ball out of Jason Tatum's hands. And everything that we did in game 2, we don't have to play a zone. We didn't even play a single second of zone in game 3 where we blew them out. We don't have to play zone. All we need to do, because the zone worked extremely well with Tatum off the floor. So whenever he's off the floor, play the zone. When he's on the floor, he's a very smart basketball player. He's going to know how to pick that zone apart, because he's going to get into the middle of the zone every single time. So when he's on the floor, you don't have to play the zone. Just trap him and just get the ball out of his hands. Once you do that, you're just making somebody else beat you at that point, and that's fine. Offensively, the looks that we got from 3 were good. We were just missing them, and you can't really do anything about that. But Jimmy and Bam have to be aggressive, especially Jimmy. Bam as well. Like, both of them have to set the tone. I think if we do all that, we're gonna win the game 5, and game 5 is gonna be big. Obviously, it's in Boston. I'm super excited though, man. I'm always excited about Heat basketball, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section about what your confidence levels are for the rest of the series, and what do y'all think is gonna happen tonight. I'm really excited, man. But yeah, I want to see y'all later as always. Peace.